Hello and welcome to a John's Comics with Kids edited video. This is a pull list special edition Future State. I knew next to nothing about DC's Future State and I wanted to educate myself so I could figure out if I wanted to put any of these new books on my pull list. If you want that kind of information too, hang around and watch what I learned. If you're anything like me, this whole future state thing seems a little bit stupid, and you might not be interested in buying any of those books, but would it shock you to learn that I have a few future state books on my pull list? Man, I got a few future state green light, yellow light, and red light books that you might be interested in hearing about as we break down this DC event and answer your tough questions. Firstly, what is future state? Future State is DC's 2-month-long event, sort of looking ahead at an alternative future for a lot of their key characters. Batman, as we know him, Superman, as we know him, and Wonder Woman, as we know her, are all sort of being reshaped and taking a backstage sort of to a lot of new versions of those three Trinity characters. And then a whole bunch of the rest of the DC universe gets reimagined in this event as well. What are the long-term ramifications? Probably nothing. This is probably a 2-month and done thing, which is why a lot of the community is saying they're going to skip DC for 2 whole months. I don't blame them. But I wanted to be sure on my pull list, so I went through and looked at everything they're doing in these 2 months, broke it down by week, and I'm going to give you that basic information. You might be asking yourself, hey, isn't this that like G5, Generation 5 thing that they said they were going to do? Kinda, yeah, DC scrapped this idea of reimagining their entire universe without their main characters. And what they ended up doing is kind of mixing and matching a little bit of the ideas they had from that with sort of a little more run-of-the-mill kind of DC stuff. And you get a sort of amalgam here in this Future State event. I even hesitate calling it an event because technically it's not a connected series of stories. So those of you worried that you have to read all of it or none of it, it's not like that. So let's go down week by week and take a look at what's coming ahead. So week number 1 obviously has the most amount of new books simply because everything is new. And we start off with The Next Batman. This seems to be a Lucius Fox connected Batman character. Sadly, what I really was frustrated about with this title is that it's actually like an anthology. There are 3 different stories, 3 different writers, 3 different artists contributing to this. We have John Ridley, we have Vita Ayala, who I really like, and Paul Jenkins on this first issue number 1. There are 4 issues spread across the 2 months. So this is one of the few Future State books where you have to buy 4 issues to complete the storyline. Next, Batman is going to focus primarily on Lucius Fox's, I think it's his son or grandson, taking over as Batman. But there will always be secondary and tertiary storylines, big word, in each of these 4 issues. So this is issue number 1, and I'm going to say this is probably a red light for me. I don't like anthology books. I don't want 3 stories. I want 1 really good one. So for me, this is going to be a hard pass. However, the next one is a guaranteed green light. That is Wonder Woman by Joelle Jones. I am obsessed with Joelle Jones. I think she's hugely talented, especially when she's drawing and writing at the same time. And she is. This is a reimagining of the character of Wonder Woman. So we have Yara is the name of this new Wonder Woman character. Joelle is only doing 2 issues, so I only have to buy 2 books. She is drawing and writing and doing the cover A's. I'm in. I'm totally in on this. I like her art way, way too much. So I'm going to definitely give this issue number 1 a shot, and if it's any good, I'll just buy the second issue and have both, because I think Joelle Jones is supremely talented. Then let's look over at Superman. Now, there are a few Superman books spread across this event. We have Superman of Metropolis is dropping week 1, which is the first week in January. And this one is, again, 3 sort of stories mashed together. So Superman of Metropolis has Jonathan Kent in the main storyline. But then there's also like a Guardian Superman storyline and a Mr. Miracle storyline. There's only 2 issues of this. So you get one in this month and one in February, but I don't care enough about Superman to care about this. The artists and writers involved didn't really ring any bells for me. Brandon Easton, Cully Hammer, and Sean Lewis, I'm not familiar with them. So I'm going to pass on this, and there are plenty of other Superman books to look at anyways, so this one is going to get a red light from me. Then we've got a definite red light, which is Harley Quinn, issue number 1. This is by Stephanie Phillips and Simone DeMeo? I don't know. So I'm not familiar with them. There's only 2 issues of this. I'm not a Harley Quinn fan, so I'm pretty much ready to pass on this completely. Some storylines in this future state involving Gotham falling under the thumb of some new villain. I don't care. None of it interests me. So most of the Batman related stuff I'm just going to be out on. The next one does intrigue me. I got a yellow light for Swamp Thing, issue number 1 of 2. So 1 in January, 1 in February. Brand new character as Swamp Thing, a future sort of apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic kind of futuristic Swamp Thing. Our writer's name is Ram V, and he apparently is writing a ton of this future state stuff, so you'll hear his name a few times. The artist is Mike Perkins. I'm just curious enough to take a look at this one. If it's not going to be quality art, this one's going to throw into the yellow light list pretty quick. And the last one in week 1 is Flash. Future State Flash involves Barry Allen and Wally West. I don't know that I care all that much. This is Brandon Vietti and Dale Eagleson. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. I'm not familiar with any of them. It's 2 issues, 1 in January, 1 in February. I don't care. So that one's getting a red light from me. I'm not even going to really look at that one. So let's look at week 2. Week 2 has a different Batman book. We've got Dark Detective, issue 1. This is actually Bruce Wayne. So for those of you that are like, well, no, Bruce Wayne's not in any of this. Wrong. There are 4 issues of Dark Detective. 2 in January and then 2 in February. And each one of these involves 2 stories. So we got Joshua Williamson writing one and Matthew Rosenberg writing the second one. I like those gentlemen. They're very talented. So I'm kind of curious about this. But again, it feels anthology based. 2 stories, I don't want it. I'd rather just one really good one. So I'm probably going to glance at it and then just skip this. I'm just not all that interested, but it's telling you the story of what happens with Bruce Wayne. What did he go through? Where has he been? So if that interests you, maybe it would pair well with the next Batman if you wanted to read all 8 of those issues, but I'm going to pass. Then we have one that is a green light for me, which is Justice League. And this is also by Joshua Williamson, and then Ram V is back again. This is going to be 2 stories, which is usually a pass for me, but one of them is Justice League. The other is Justice League Dark, which is like, okay, now we're talking my language. Justice League is going to also have Far Sector's Joe Mullen as one of the characters that is on the team. So now I'm interested in all of this in a very big way. So for me, I'm definitely giving the first of the 2 Justice League issues, 1 January, 1 February, I'm giving that a shot. After that, we got Teen Titans. That's a pass for me. I don't know Tim Sheridan, and I don't know Rafa Sandoval, though it sounds a little familiar. There's 2 Teen Titan issues. Pretty much the whole cast is coming in for this Teen Titans run. So if you're a Teen Titans fan, I don't know, maybe you check that out. Then there's a Green Lantern. That's going to get a red light from me. I'm usually a Green Lantern fan, but they're splitting this up into 3 stories. You got a Guy Gardner one, Jessica Cruz, Jon Stewart. Maybe it's a yellow light, but I don't know Ryan Cady, I don't know Jeffrey Thorne, and I don't know Ernie Altbacker. I don't know any of these guys. So for me, it just it's only 2 issues, 1 January, 1 February. So I'm probably just going to skip that whole thing. Then week 2, we also have Robin Eternal. Tim Drake fans can get a 2-issue Robin storyline, January and February, by Megan Fitzmartin. I'm a Robin fan, but I'm not a Tim Drake fan. He's probably my least favorite Robin, so I'm going to pass on this one. Not even a yellow light. I'm just going to skip all of that. But if you want to see what Tim Drake is up to and how he feels about the new Batman, maybe that is connected to you for some reason. I will say that the Batman stuff is not necessarily you have to read this to read that. It's all kind of separated. Characters might bip in and out of storylines, but it's not going to be anything where you need to read this to understand that. So it's just something to think about. After that, we have another Superman book. This is Superman and Wonder Woman. This is by Dan Waters and Leila Del Duca. I don't know either one of them, although Dan Waters' name sounds a little bit familiar. This is going to be Yara, the new Wonder Woman, and Jonathan Kent, taking over for his dad, the new Superman, partnering. I don't know that you need to read those other books to understand this one, but obviously those characters are appearing in several different stories. 2 issues again, one January, one February. I'm going to probably pass on this just because I'm not interested in the creators on that one. Lastly, we've got another Superman-related story. This is Kara Zor-El, Superwoman. This is sort of a cosmic story. Kara's living out on the moon and dealing with cosmic heroes coming to Earth in this future. I don't know the ladies involved. It's Marguerite Bennett and Marguerite Savage. There's only 2 issues of this. My girls are big Superwoman, Supergirl fans, but I think we're going to probably skip on this one. So that's probably getting the red light as well. So we're halfway there. We've got now week 3. Week 3 has another issue of the next Batman, and Vita Ayala comes on here to tell one of the 3 stories in that one. Again, hard pass on the next Batman for me. Then you got Nightwing, one of 2 issues for Nightwing. I don't know. I don't know that I care too much about this storyline, and Andrew Constant and Nicola Scott, I don't know them, so this is probably a pass for me, but hey, there's 2 issues of Nightwing for those fans. Then we have The Immortal Wonder Woman, another anthology, 2 stories. Becky Cloonan is doing one of those. 2 issues of this. This is actually Diana, so this is not Yara, this is the actual Diana starring in this storyline. Again, I don't know that I care. There's going to be 2 different storylines following her, and where has she been, what has she been up to, but yeah, that's going to be a pass for me. Next, we have Superman, The Worlds of War. This is another anthology, 3 stories. Becky Cloonan comes back here. We also get the first time we're seeing Philip Kennedy Johnson from Last God as one of the writers. There's a Mr. Miracle story from before continuing here. Some of that stuff. This is going to show you where Clark Kent has been all this time. I'm not a fan of this. I don't know that I care. I'm not really interested. So this is going to get a pass. There's 2 issues of this across Future State as well. That leaves 2 more in week 3. We've got Catwoman. Catwoman is going to be by Ramvi again. And this focuses on Catwoman taking on a protege. So those of you Catwoman fans might be interested in this. This is a pass for me. I don't care. I'm not interested. 2 issues of Catwoman I can red light and kick off my list. And lastly, in week 3, we have Shazam, issue 1. Where has Billy Batson been? What has Billy Batson been doing? Tim Sheridan and Eduardo Pancia are the ones trying to answer that for us. I'm not a Shazam comic book fan. Haven't read that before. I'm not going to dive in on Future State. So that's going to be a red light for me. All right, the last week in January, week 4. Dark Detective issue 2 comes along, so more Bruce Wayne stuff. Again, I'm passing on all that, so I'm not interested. But I am curious a little bit about Batman Superman. This is going to be a darker kind of story. We're going to figure out what happened to Bruce and what happened to Clark. And it's a 2-issue storyline. The writer is Gene Luen Yang, who I'm not familiar with, but the artist is Ben Oliver, who I absolutely love. So I'm very curious about this. Ben Oliver doing interior art, people. That interests me a ton. So I'm definitely going to give this a yellow light. I'm going to totally look at it, but I have a feeling the artwork's going to be so good, I'm just going to buy. This is Batman, Superman, and it's a darker kind of future story. There's only 2 issues, one here at the end of January, and then the second one will be at the end of February. So I'm very curious about that. It does look like the second issue might have another artist working with Ben Oliver, so I don't know how that plays out. Next up, we have Suicide Squad. I am not a fan. I'm going to hard pass this one. It's 2 stories. One is the Suicide Squad, and one is Black Adam. Robbie Thompson and Jeremy Adams are involved. I don't know them, so I'm going to skip out on that one completely. Again, there's 2 issues of that, one January, one February. Aquaman. No way. But there's a new Aquaman, and he's training the daughter, the teenage daughter of the original Aquaman. So I don't know. I'm not a fan. I could skip all the Curry family drama and just move on. Brandon Thomas and Daniel Sempre are doing the art. I don't know them, so this is just a hard pass all around, which you might be hearing a lot from me right now. That leaves 2 books that I haven't really mentioned for January. We got Legion of Superheroes, which is really looking at what happened to that team. Where did they go? And Brian Michael Bendis is writing that, so Bendis haters are going to definitely be skipping this. I'm a fan of his, but I don't care about the Legion of Superheroes, so I'm going to be skipping that. Riley Rosimo is doing the art, and again, 2 issues, one January, one February, but at the end of the months. And lastly, we have Superman versus Imperious Lex. This is going to involve Lois Lane, Clark Kent, and Lex Luthor. Some future planet that Lex has sort of colonized and created his utopia. Mark Russell is writing, and Stephen Pugh is doing the art. I don't care. 2 issues I can totally red light and just pass on. So now February is basically all the issue 2s, 3s, and 4s from this run. And so I've kind of already told you which ones I'm looking at, which ones I'm skipping, but there is one more issue that has its first appearance here in this time. So let me skip to the last book that I have not discussed in this future state. Is called Superman, House of El. This is, I compare this to like King Thor. We're looking ahead at Superman's legacy and his children and grandchildren and what they're doing to continue his legacy. So the children of Clark are, this sounds I'm kind of curious on this one. I don't know the artist Scott Godlewski, but it is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who I do love the Last God comic book, so I'm a little bit curious about this one. I will take a look at it. This book is the very last week of February, the last week of Future State. It's kind of like the culminating issue of Future State in some ways. So I'm definitely going to be curious about it. But that is the one that I'm like, maybe there's a Superman book that I want to read. Maybe that's the one. But that's it, folks. That is Future State as condensed as I can make it. I've gone through every single one of the comics they'll be dropping, told you how many issues they're dropping, gave you a sort of synopsis, and gave you an idea of who's making those comics. Hopefully that's something that you're interested in learning a little bit about. Hopefully this was useful. Let me know in the comments, is there any of these issues that you're interested in buying? I was surprised to find a few myself because I was planning on skipping this whole event, but I'm glad I took the time because I found a few things that I think I'd be curious to check out. For those of you that are giving this a whole hard pass, I totally understand, but I appreciate you taking the time to watch this anyways. And check out my other content if you haven't taken the time. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you on the regular Thursday pull list.